So from a swing perspective, this fair value gap has essentially been able, we've seen price break beneath the fair value gap, right? So what we've seen is we've seen price come in and we've broken below this. This is what we call the CISD. The true change in state of delivery comes from in this case, aggressive buyers that have failed to drive the price higher. So what you're seeing over here in these two candles over here is you're seeing a significant number of buyers, right? These buyers are trying to drive the price higher. Have these buyers succeeded? Have they been able to drive price higher? Well, if you look at the ATAS platform, the ATAS platform gives you the data live, and I trade live straight off the ATAS platform. This candle over here had significant buyers, but none of them were rewarded. This is important to understand, right? And I want traders to understand this even just from a logical perspective. Right, when you have a fair value gap over here, right? So price, of course, here, let's extend this over. When you have a bearish fair value gap, you want to know if sellers are in control. And the way you do that counterintuitively is to actually read the buyers. If there's more aggressive buyers than sellers and the fair value gap holds, as in price doesn't break above it, what that means is that the market is being controlled by sellers. And the way you know that is when price comes into this area. If we see a lot of aggressive buyers over here and the market moves down, there are actually passive sellers sitting over here. I'm just going to write PS for short. These are passive sellers coming into the market. And those passive sellers correspond to what you see here on the ATAS platform. So over here, even though we had significant buying volume in terms of the ask was much greater than the bid. What's really going on is that there's passive sellers that are absorbing all the buyers over here, right? So all these 566 buyers were absorbed. So what's actually happening is there's more passive sellers than aggressive buyers. And that is what moves the price lower. That's what creates a supply area. That's what creates a bearish fair value gap. That's what creates a resistance area, whatever you want to call it. It's all the same thing really, right? This is what creates the overall markets to move up or down. So in this case, what we saw here a very, very large passive seller stepping in, which absorbed the buyer. So we see passive sellers resting in this area. So from here, you can take this trade. All right, this is a short trade because we know sellers are in control. So you can have your stop loss just above the wicks over here, right? And now from here, the question is, where do you target? And how do you know whether to hold this trade all the way down to this particular area? So for that, we're going to go to the higher time frames and we're going to analyze things from a higher time frame perspective. Now, from a higher time frame perspective, let's analyze this, right? So what we had over here, significant to know, we had a structure high, we had a structure low down here, and we had our most recent